Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Scott Churchman, alongside Mr. Robert Lexington, Mr. Davion Boosie, and, of course, Mr. Ryan O'Regan. And welcome to Tales from the Film Set on Zingo TV, channel 249, 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app on the app stores of iOS and Android. When you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. Both apps are free. Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV Sticks, Roku, Roku Sticks, and all smart TVs 2016 and forward. Gentlemen, happy May 17th. It is 7 p.m. on the Eastern time zone and probably somewhere around midnight somewhere in Europe. How you gentlemen doing?
I'm fantastically well.
That was a lot more detail than I was expecting, but pretty good. Oh my God. She-Hulk trailer finally came out, and I laughed.
Yes.
I haven't seen it yet. I just saw that you said
why I wore the green. It's like, wow.
Yes. Actually, you're channeling your inner Irish there, I suppose, too.
It's Sprite, man. You don't get more hood than Sprite, all right? But as far as this trailer going, this was something that we had always heard that was going to be a lot different than what we had gotten previously, because this one was going straight into the comedy realm, which, let's face it, Marvel has had like its little instances of like humor here and there, but never like a straight comedy, except for like maybe MODOK on Hulu.
Yeah.
But this looks good. This looks like the kind of like comedy you would have expected on like NBC. And I'm all for it. Tatiana Maslany looks outstanding. I'm not surprised that they're not going full green on her. What day? What? I see you going like you're a cuckoo clock person. It's like,
she is hot as a large green person.
Oh, no. Do not be one of those people on the internet that's like, yes, tall ladies step on me. Don't do that, please. Don't be that guy.
I'm starting to accept that at the moment, long as she's green.
Good night, everybody. By the way, you can find us on
Not where I was going, although the trailer does show that she's going to be one of those characters that's actually going to pursue a dating life, which frankly in the MCU we've only ever seen in like Eternals. So it's going to be nice to actually show that aspect of what superheroism is, trying to find love. We've seen that stuff in like The Boys, but now they're getting into the game.
Or Spider-Man even.
True. Well, I mean, that was definitely more like a puppy love sort of committed relationship, high school sort of stuff. This is like modern, like, Tinder swiping sort of love. All right. This is like what the rest of us go through, not the idealized things that you see in high school.
Ryan, do you have any secrets to tell us?
Not at this moment.
Actually, I have a question on this. We're just going to devolve this thing right down lower. Is there any Rule 34 with Starfire? Tall green woman, tall orange woman.
If you're talking Starfire or Blackfire, it's there. Anything is Rule 34. And for those of you people who are watching out there in TV land that have no idea what Rule 34 is,
just look it up. Don't even.
Don't even explain it.
Don't.
Just look up the definition. Is what I meant to say.
The definition of Rule 34 is don't say it.
Look it up on Reddit, or kids. Your parents may ask you because they're probably not going to even know what it is. All right. Anyway, that's something I haven't gotten a chance to take a look at. I know you guys did. We are going to talk a little bit more about that. We are also going to be breaking down what to do on Zoom auditions to not look like a complete moron. Speaking from personal experience in that department. Also talking about Little Warner Brothers life and what's going on with some of the cancellations there. And of course, Doctor Who's family is getting a little bit bigger for the 60th anniversary, as they brought back the two main characters from my favorite series in the reboot, Series 4. David Tennant and Catherine Tate are back for the 60th anniversary special.
The Dr. Donna. Yes.
What's that?
The Dr. Donna.
Yes. Also additionally, there's a new character also named Rose, not the original Rose Tyler, but someone else named Rose. So it is starting to take shape. And weirdly enough, there's more excitement for this special than there's been in Doctor Who the last 2 years in general.
Right.
Ah, see, that seems so unfair though, because here's the thing.
It's not.
But stop. All right, look. For all of us working in the movie and TV realm, Doctor Who is a little bit of an abnormality in the fact that it changes showrunners in order to keep things going. Usually,
Which
a
is fine.
showrunner is pretty much the person that's behind the show from beginning to end, whether it's one season, whether it's 13 seasons. Doctor Who has a difference where the showrunner will come in as far as a certain number of doctors goes through and they feel that they've completed their vision. And that's what makes Doctor Who very fresh and very energetic and very ever changing.
Mhm.
But this is the first time that we've actually gotten a showrunner come back to do more in Russell T Davies, who was the showrunner who pretty much kicked off the revival back in the mid 2000s. And I get that people are probably going to be like, oh, David Tennant, oh, Russell T Davies, oh, nostalgia. Is it a little bit too soon for Russell T Davies to go ahead and make a comeback?
No.
No.
Let me say this. When he came back, part of the deal was the BBC had to relinquish all control. He had total creative control, and so far he's been fine. I mean, the new Doctor, nobody has a problem with. This choice. The most recent Doctor Who episode. I don't know. By any chance, did you guys happen to look at the ratings on this? The Sea
Are
Devil
you
episode.
talking about the new special they had where they were like, pirates?
Yes.
No, I didn't actually get to watch that one. The last one I saw was when she was all locked up in prison.
Okay, so you're going back a little bit. That show in the UK across all devices in 1 week, which is usually how they operate. So basically, they give you like 1 week to DVR. It drew 3.5 million viewers, which was the second lowest in the entire franchise's history, dating back to the original series as well.
Wow.
In the United States,
I didn't even know one was coming out. I mean, where was the promotion for something like this?
Here's the other side of it. Do you know how many people in the US watched it across the entire week? 209,000.
Oh.
I've looked the numbers up because basically the Monday night episode that we had done, Streampunk Talking Junk, I had mentioned this because I looked up the numbers ahead of time to make sure it was accurate. And I studied the snot out of this. And I went through the TV ratings for every single episode dating back to 1963. And it was only beaten out. It beat out one episode in 1989, barely.
Well, see,
that was
that just
Sylvester
pretty much
McCoy when
tells
the show
me
was on its way out.
no one knew about it.
What's that?
That tells me no one knew about it. Like, it's one of those things where it's like it just happened to be playing and people stopped on it. It's like, I don't think I've seen this one. Because again, I didn't hear about this thing at all. So I mean, it almost feels like because it's like the last step before they go ahead and switch over, they're like tanking it. They're just trying to like get rid of it as soon as possible. I didn't even see anything about it on social media.
We have the DVR set up here for new episodes of Doctor Who. That's the only reason I knew about it. So I just looked at it something. It's like, oh, there's a new episode because they didn't advertise. They're basically just burning off episodes. Jodie Whittaker has one more episode in the fall sometime, which is going to be her last episode.
Her transformation episode, as it were.
Yeah, but they're not showing the transformation of the new Doctor. They're probably just showing the transformation, I'm guessing, and then just cutting the episode off is my theory. Well,
that's so fun. Part of the fun of the episode is always like seeing like the last 10, 15 seconds of like, oh, it's the new person.
Having Peter Capaldi's character complain about the color of his kidneys as soon as you let go of Matt Smith. Yeah, that.
Well, that's always been a fun thing. It's like, what's their first line after they change? It's like, it's got to be something bombastic. And I mean, to be fair, even Jodie Whittaker's wasn't exactly booming.
But see, here's the thing: her first episode was good. I enjoyed it. It was neat. It was but then after that, it's like they burned everything they had, and then they drew 8.2 million viewers on her first episode, and like I said, on her last episode, they drew 3.5 million. That's a 67% drop.
I'll admit, it hasn't been a glowing success, which is a shame. Especially considering they did different things, and I like when shows do different things, especially a show like this, because then it keeps things fresh. It keeps things entertaining because you don't know what to expect. I feel like the minute I heard Russell T Davies come in, it's like, oh, it's gonna get weird. We know it's
We
gonna
have
get
hope
weird.
again. Mhm.
Weird and probably a little cheap looking.
Well, to quote, Avatar: Last Airbender, the anime, not the animation, not the movie. Hope is an illusion, but in this case, I'll take the hope. Speaking of Avatar: Last Airbender, what are we watching tomorrow, by the way, D?
Wait, are we? No,
Hmm?
no. You mean Avatar because of the sequel coming out because it's on Disney, highest
Remember,
grossing movie ever.
it's Bad Movie Beatdown, which I haven't decided if I'm going to change to Bad Movie Bitch Fest, because there actually is a Bad Movie Beatdown by Film James. So I'm debating if I should call it Bad Movie Bitch Fest. But yes,
We're watching
Avatar,
the movie, the Airbender,
the
last
Shyamalan
Airbender.
one.
Rob, I know you don't usually do the Wednesday shows, but if you want to tag in, anytime,
No,
anytime,
you're going to
anytime,
enjoy this.
come on. I know you got two of them. Use one.
I'm sure.
What's his name?
Tap it.
Tap.
Don't tap it. Don't tap it. Don't tap it.
Tap.
Don't tap it.
Save me, please.
Tap,
Save me.
tap. How do I? Tap.
Ah, there we go. Okay, that counts.
Just tap it in.
Oh,
Tap it in.
Tap it in.
So yes,
Tap,
we're
tap,
gonna.
tap it
So
in.
it's okay. I can say the B word.
Well, bitch slut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just did.
Okay.
So
So
I mean, right now, like I said, it was Bad Movie Beatdown, but I'll leave it to majority decision whether we're going to rename it to Bitch Fest.
so we are gonna watch The Last Airbender. M. Night
Oh,
Shyamalan
God.
version.
Here's what I will say about that. Last week we watched Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li, which somehow made Street Fighter boring. This will at least not be boring. This will be bad, but this will be entertaining bad, not boring bad. With Chris Klein trying to do his best theater accent, theater performance in the Street Fighter movie.
Yes. Oh my god. Oh my god. It was like, yo,
do the neck thing.
I'm about to go take on Shadow Lu.
Yeah.
I feel like last week I touched a bullet, but this week I'm getting a nail gun.
There's always another bullet coming behind.
Exactly.
Speaking of, another bullet, who are we getting to replace Jodie Whittaker on this Doctor Who stuff? Like, I know
there is.
I know we're getting old Doctor and old companion back, but we're also getting new Doctor, new companion. Yes.
Yes. I'm pulling up the name right now. Nakuti Gatwa. I've been trying to struggle with the name a little bit.
From Sex Education. On Netflix.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. So
that's the only thing I know him from, and
that's what everybody.
I started watching that because it's got Gillian Anderson and Asa Butterfield.
Listen, I have no problem. I see his smile. I see his personality, and he actually during an interview did hum the theme to the show. So I was like, all right, he's endearing himself to fans already right off the bat. Jodie Whittaker went on record by saying that she decided not to watch any of the previous Doctors because she didn't want to have them taint her performance. But he's just like, da, 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 da.
Well, I mean, he's definitely going to be younger. I'd say between him and Matt Smith, it's probably a question of who's the youngest Doctor to ever play him, right?
I don't know. Yeah, actually, well, Matt Smith was 29.
Right. And if nothing else, I know the companion that they got for him, the new Rose.
Yeah.
I think might be the first trans companion that we've ever had for the show.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So breaking a lot of new ground, which for Russell T Davies, he's just, let the freak flag fly. So Lord knows what he's going to do to these poor two people.
Here's where I'm curious about, and this is something. He married his husband, I think, like back in 2003 or 4, something like that, and his husband passed away in like 2018. I wonder if that's going to affect how he's going to be able to do his approach to the show from an emotional, personal standpoint. I mean, like I said, in Russell we trust. I'm just putting it out there as it is. But I wonder, as a person, who's now a showrunner, if his mentality is going to be a little different because of what the loss that he had a few years ago.
I mean, it's hard to say that's going to affect him in any way, considering he did agree to it. This isn't like a Zack
It's been
Snyder
4 years,
thing where it's like you
yeah.
have some sort of like big thing happen to you while you're working on a project, and then it kind of takes you out of it, like it did with Justice League.
Mhm.
This is a man who obviously has had some time to process. Unfortunately, it was during the pandemic, but he
Mm.
did decide that, you know what, I want to come back to this. I want to come back to a place where maybe I felt comfortable and safe in it, and maybe that will help refocus my mind rather than deal with the unfortunate tragedy that I've had to deal with. So, for all we know, this might be the best thing for him.
Could be
I
very
just question going backwards on a show that's so constantly forward and progressive. You know, it just kind of feels like a step back. But you know, again, we'll have to see exactly how things pan out.
Here's
Because
my last thing on that: the fact that he brought back David Tennant and Catherine Tate, you can guarantee the ratings are going to be phenomenal.
Yes.
Everybody's going to be tuning into that one.
well, yeah, I'd say out of all the people that have continued on from Doctor Who, they have probably the two most successful actresses.
That's
Tate
been
doing
okay.
plenty in England, and David,
Mm.
just voiceover work alone has just been all over the place, whether it be DuckTales or Genlock or any of the other things that he's been some more noted for.
Cannot watch him in Jessica Jones. I'm too uncomfortable seeing that.
Oh, he's so
What?
good in that, though.
Dude,
Which you
what?
can now find on Disney Plus.
Dude, if the
What?
Doctor, I can't see him in. I can't watch Jessica Jones because it taints my vision of what David Tennant is.
But
Listen,
that's
I got a
who
problem with
David
that. I
Tennant
admit
is.
it. I do.
David Tennant
Yeah.
is smarmy.
Oh,
Regardless
dude,
of
yeah,
what
I
you
know.
think, he is
I mean,
smarmy.
listen, good. And I remember seeing him in Good Omens alongside Michael Sheehan. You know, it's funny when I was standing in A Prodigal Son. Michael Sheehan is the father on that show, and apparently those two, him and David Tennant, are really, really tight. So every day that I was there, I was just hoping, as a little fanboy, that David Tennant would just randomly just crash the set in Astoria. It never happened, but
Watch Bad Samaritan if you want to see like a bad boy David
Version.
Tennant.
Yeah.
well, yeah, Good Omens. I remember him, because he played a demon from hell,
Yes.
and like you said, smarmy. So, but anyway, so like I said, bottom line, I'm curious. Anything else on that, or should we move on to possibly have a little Zoom audition, depending?
Let's talk acting stuff. Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
No problem.
So, by the way, I just want to point out for the record, I got back this morning at 9:30 in the morning from an overnight. I am running on the probably no more than an hour of sleep since 8 a.m. yesterday morning. So it has been coffee, rage, and just some degree of delirium. So humor me and run with me for the next 37 minutes, then they can be done with me on this.
Regular or decaf?
Regular. We get the good stuff.
Okay, regular rage.
Yeah.
Good.
And I did not actually have any cold brew. Usually I'll have cold brew. Credit to the production, by the way. They brought in a donut truck. I didn't eat any. I'm not a big donut fan, but a lot of people really liked it because it had like donuts with eclairs and sprinkles on them. So for a lot of people at 3 o'clock in the morning, it was awesome.
Oh.
Wait. Did it have lemon?
There's a full donut truck, so I would assume they probably did. I didn't go to it because again, it's not my MO. But they had I know people are just like, I'll take one of these. And like, all right, go.
I miss being on big sets.
Dude, let me tell you this though, and I'll turn it over to Rob in a second. I'm not going to mention the production in this case, but it's a 4-day work week, and all 4 days are overnights.
Wow.
Oh wow.
And right now, at this very moment, they're on a rooftop in Manhattan, and they're shooting it overnight on that rooftop for a wedding scene.
Nice.
It's cold as crap on a, like an 8-story or 10-story roof.
Man, you're talking to a
4
big
days.
man. Weather means nothing to me.
Same here.
I had that advantage yesterday. I feel myself, but yeah. So, Rob, I know you've been auditioning for stuff and running with stuff. Zoom auditioning, I think, is some of the stuff you've been doing lately too, right?
Yeah. I'd had one. I mean, you got to keep your stuff updated. You know, my computer, like on that last one that I had, I did a direct, what they call an Eco Live audition that through Actors Access, and
Right.
I was using my iPad to connect through the internet and everything, and they say not to use Safari because Safari is kind of it's a browser that's not as solid or whatever it is as like
Suck it,
Chrome.
Apple.
Yeah, well, that's what they say. Okay, that's what the casting wants you to use. Is they want you to use either Chrome or Firefox or something that's other than Safari, which kind of sucks because I love Safari. Netscape, there you go. But so that last one that I had, I had gotten through okay. Everything, I could hear them, but I couldn't see them. They could see me, right? So, and it was just a simple one-line audition that I had that, they more or less just said, well, just send us a self-tape because there was no way for them to connect with me. And so my point is make sure that when you do your auditions through EcoCast that you're up to date on all your software and everything else. So
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Actually, a couple of those. The that was the previous one that I had. The one before that was that it had something to do with sound. I don't know. So yeah, make sure everything's updated.
Now,
Now,
see with the go ahead.
well, I mean, okay, so obviously we live in a world now post COVID where self tapes being done at home, auditions being done online, not so much walking into the room sort of dealies. I have to ask about like what would make the proper setup. Like obviously you are someone who does it a lot more often than probably myself or any of the other guys.
Yeah.
So what would you say for people out there? What would be the proper setup for doing these kinds of auditions from home?
Well, I would say that like get yourself a tripod, get yourself something to mount your iPhone to or iPad, whatever you use. Get a solid background. Have decent enough lighting, and a lot of those breakdowns they say they don't necessarily want like a professional, setup done. They just want to be able to see you do your scene and everything. So, I mean, basic setup would be a tripod, something to mount your phone to, a solid background, and if you have to read with a reader, that's one thing. If you can get somebody that's live in the room, that's great. There's a lot of casting directors that will accept whether or not that, like, if you have a phone that's sitting right next to your recording device, where you have somebody that you're speaking to across the phone line, kind of thing, and as long as they can hear their voice and your voice, the interaction, that kind of thing, they'll accept that. A lot of them don't. You just don't know. So yeah, that's
And
what I would
headphones are
say.
acceptable? I mean, obviously that's like the most visual difference between
Mm,
like say if you went to an audition and doing this. So
I'd say no headphones. If you can get away with doing everything on speaker, that's the best.
okay, well thankfully I've got that.
Agreed. Yeah. Headphones could probably be viewed as a prop, and you want to try to avoid props in any kind of audition. Here,
Yeah.
again, it's perfectly fine. This is totally different. But yeah,
Well,
you can
I think
avoid.
that's the thing because we've just become so acclimated to a certain setup. Because if you're anyone who's ever done like a family thing with Zoom, unless you're in control of the mic and everything, everyone's talking at once and you can't understand what everyone's saying. So it's like, obviously, you're not in control. You're just pretty much there. They see you. You may not see them. It's like doing an audition in like a room where there's just a big mirror and there's somebody on the other side, but you don't know who it is.
Right.
It's a wizard behind the curtain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or, you're in the lineup by the usual suspects.
Trust me, I know about lineups.
By the way, did you ever? Well,
Good.
I feel like I shouldn't actually, basically go past that comment right there. By the way, have you ever seen
Who
the
have you killed?
TV edit of the police lineup for usual suspects? The TV edit basically it's like give me the gosh darn keys, you fairy godmother.
That's a watered down type of
Yeah.
Oh
statement.
yeah.
That was a very good watered down
PBS
Friday.
editing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Fairy Godmother. Somehow I watched it like literally like 4 days ago, and yeah, they just say Fairy Godmother a lot in that scene.
Interesting.
That's some Sam Jackson Snakes on a Plane. So
Yeah, there you go.
Monkey fighting snakes, or Bruce Willis with
what
Mr.
the
Falcon.
mother, father, cocker spaniel's going on?
Find me in the see what happens, Larry. See what happens when you find them. Find me in the Alps.
My mother makes good fudge.
Nice.
don't- Every good boy deserves fudge. I don't know. My mother did like.
So wait, Scott Day, have you guys done any Zoom auditions the way Robert has, or are you guys
I have.
not acclimated to that yet?
Baba?
Have you done? I've done them. Have you done Zoom auditions?
No, I have not done Zoom auditions.
Yeah, I've done a
So
few.
Scott, do you have anything that you could bless wisdom-wise on top of what Robert has suggested?
Here's the weird thing I'm going to say about that. If you do the audition and they want a callback, they'll do the callback. Usually it's a self-tape, and then they'll do like a Zoom audition callback. So Mrs. Meisel's had me do it for a few times. Some Sunoco commercial. The one thing that's off-putting about it is that the casting people that you're talking to are sitting there in their shorts on the couch. It's like, you go in, when you go into a regular audition, everybody's dressed professionally. You got the reader over there next to the camera. They're doing all this kind of stuff. It's very, very posh and very, but then they're just like, hang on a minute.
Scratching their butt.
Yeah, just like, all right, cool. There we go. Now we're good. They got like an Al Bundy thing almost going on in some cases where they're just like so laid back and so chill. It's
like you can tell how sensitive the microphone is if they just happen to be like,
dude, it's
you don't hear anything.
Disarming. It's like disarming and unnerving simultaneously, but they're so laid back. I remember I did one, and the guy's dog just decided to jump on the couch.
Wow.
The guy apologized. I'm like, that I don't care. I mean, if you want to apologize to me, I guess it probably increases my chances. It didn't, but they just, like I said, it's just so absolutely laid back now that even when they receive these things, and I got to do another one, I got to do one tomorrow. They're probably just sitting there in front of their computer, just going, play next, and they just do it from the couch. And credit to that.
For them, there's obviously a sense of efficiency, and
it gets the job done.
Yeah. I mean, you have to also think about it. Like, while this is probably easier for a lot of actors nowadays, there is all the process afterwards. Well, with the COVID testing and all that sort of stuff, that now makes it a little bit more difficult in the real world to go ahead and keep pursuing certain roles.
Speaking of COVID testing, SAG came out with a new edict regarding possibly lightening restrictions on the COVID test. Because after I finished my overnight shoot about 6 o'clock in the morning, I had a COVID test at 8 o'clock. So I went from Manhattan to Queens, back to Jersey City where the car was, and got back about 9:30 this morning. They have lightened the restrictions in many places in the United States when it comes to COVID, except in places where the numbers are skyrocketing. Want to take a guess where the numbers? What's that?
Like New York and New Jersey, right?
Yes. So
why must we be such a hotbed?
When I was on the PATH train this morning, heading, it was the PATH train, or it was the R train. I forget which one it was, but no, it was yesterday going in. There were 16 people on that train. 7 of them were unmasked. So somehow or other, COVID's going to pop out some way. You got stuff like that happening regularly. It's the United Nations.
They've been talking about it in the southern part of the state that the numbers have been ticking up, and I'm like, of course they are, because the weather's getting warmer and allergies, and people are probably more prone to picking it up now than they were before.
I saw some woman just the other day that was coming out of the hospital where she was drinking from a bottled water, had no mask on. She kept spitting it out like every couple of feet.
Like Alan Rickman in Dogma.
What is wrong with people, man? I mean, we just got out of like a COVID thing for the last 2 years, and people are out here like sneezing and coughing on it all over people and spitting up water. And
Oh yeah, like just I've been out of it from this past week. It's like
Yeah.
I've
Mhm.
brought back out the sanitizer. I use the masks, and mind you, I usually work by myself, but you have to take care when taking care is necessary. I'm not saying you have to do it all the time, but
Right.
then if you're just gonna go ahead and start spitting water everywhere like you're a damn camel, it's not gonna look good.
Yeah. And
Well, I
it was
saw.
like there was like this like what do you call it? Like a grating with a sewer or whatever the
Oh, sewer. Yeah.
Sewer grate, yeah.
yeah sewer grate. Just within a couple of feet, she could have like spit it in there, but she didn't. She spit it on the sidewalk. I mean, whatever.
Oh,
I mean,
here's the
it'll
thing: if you spit in the
eventually
sewer
get
grate,
there.
nobody will see it. She's not really
That's
littering
true.
anymore.
That's what I
I don't know.
was thinking.
I saw a lady in scrubs yesterday. She wasn't wearing a mask on the PATH train. So,
She might have been an
it's
actress.
New Jersey, the place that would have been Hollywood.
But you know
well.
what? I think part.
Speaking of,
Oh.
Well, let they talk.
Yeah, sorry about that. No, it's just
I'm
that
feeding
I
this over to you
think
anyway.
part of the issue is now people are so used to it now. It's like once people are like, okay, there's an option I wear a mask, there's an option I don't have to wear a mask. Now that it's a tick, but is it deadly now?
Mm-hmm. Nah,
Because
not,
there's people that got it and they're normal as heck right now. There's people getting it, but they're normal. They're like, okay, I'm just isolating, yeah.
Isolated,
here's the
isolated,
thing.
isolated.
We're not gonna. I didn't really want to go on this topic too much,
Yeah.
but I guess we'll
Yeah.
each one of us will have our own
Look,
closing thing.
all of
My-
us as actors, we have all felt the burn. We all know what happens when the industry goes ahead and overcompensates. We just hope it doesn't come to that point.
Right.
While stuff like Zoom communication, perfectly fine now, makes it easier on everybody, let's hope it just stays like that.
The
Well,
whole reason why they did do it though was because they wanted to at least give the actors the opportunity to be able to learn lighting, camera work, editing, that type of thing. So that was sort of a plus for the.
Oh yeah, no, I've actually had
Yeah.
training with voiceover actors and comedic teachers that I probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to if I had to wait to see if there was somebody in New York City that I could go to. Instead, I pay the online fee and I get to be in a whole big room of people, like 200 strong, all of us learning
Mhm.
from this person. Like I feel
right,
like I'm back at college.
right.
With those
And you
big
could record.
rooms where someone could fall asleep, you won't know because they're like 3 screens behind, so you
Right.
can't see them. It's perfectly fine as long as the education and the information is being forwarded and backtracked, whether it's the audition or whether it's learning, at least we know we have the tool to use it.
And the other side of it too is also either A, they will record it and send you the recording afterwards so you can reflect back on it as you need to, or B, if you have OBS, you just do it yourself.
Perfect.
Because if you have a brain like mine, it goes in one ear, out the other, and I won't even forget that it was there to begin with. So things like that are hugely important for basically brain dead people like myself.
Segue material sounds just like the people that work at Warner Brothers.
I was trying to segue to something else, but all right, we'll go to that first.
Sorry, I had to say it because I know Rob is a Warner Brothers person as opposed to us Marvel heads here. And just
All right, that one
seeing
wins.
the look
Whoa.
on his face when I had to bring
Yes.
that up.
Well, we can talk about the possible changes that are going on in the world of Aquaman 2 that apparently the executives are having conversations in regards to. But Ryan, why don't you kick it off?
Well, I mean, it's no surprise that Warner Brothers has had a questionable 2021, while with their same day and date release in theaters as well as on HBO Max, with a lot of the titles being relatively underwhelming, with the exception of maybe Dune was probably the biggest thing that they had come out last year. And with the way the television has been going between CW and all of its different outlets, the subscription rate to HBO Max, and even just the more recent non-successes in theaters, i.e. the newest Harry Potter Fantastic Beast movie, there's been a change of the brass. And there is a new CEO out there who is pretty much just lopping heads like it's the Red Wedding.
Nice reference. But
I'm trying to bring the phone up here, so because he has a very unique name, and I didn't want to mess it up. Unless you can say it properly.
Kevin Feige. There you go.
No. It starts with a Z.
Hmm.
Nothing.
Mhm.
You guys can't say it.
David Zaslav.
Zaslav. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
So
Russian.
pretty much this is all partially stemming from the merger with Discovery,
Mhm.
which is pretty much the people that are taking over the whole Warner Brothers HBO Max dealio from AT&T. So AT&T is out, Discovery is in, and Discovery had its own little Discovery Plus thing, which that's going to be converging over into HBO Max as well. But because of that, there are a lot of projects that were in development and that we're already seeing, like, first season, fourth season sort of stuff that got axed away all in one swipe. So the Wonder Twins movie we were going to get, no more.
Axe.
Batwoman, with its casting shakeups and everything, gone.
Axe.
Legend of Tomorrow.
Axe.
The CW show that was being helmed by Ava DuVernay, Naomi, out.
I will love that woman to the day I die. So
Yeah, but I wish the show got some love because it was just boring.
no, I don't know if you know the story about her. The time that
You and Ava
I
DuVernay?
met her. Yeah. When
Can't
she
say
did
that I do.
when she did the miniseries on Central Park 5, if you remember, when they went to Netflix a few years ago.
Right.
Stupid me, in my particular case, I was lost in Staten Island, around where set was, and I asked the first person I saw where holding was, and person said, it's actually over there. You're good, and it was Ava, and I didn't realize it at the time, Dumas that I am, and went through the entire day, and everything was fine and everything, but apparently she felt in her mind that she was too short with me in the conversation. She wasn't polite enough. So here I am, basically getting out of my 1980s cop uniform. I'm, in my jeans. I'm in an undershirt. Not really dressed professional. And in walked Ava. And she made it a point to try and track me down because she felt the entire day that she was not polite to me, and she was too short in conversation because she was thinking about something else. So she tracked me down and holding at the end of the day to apologize to me for something I didn't even realize she did.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, wow. That was so awesome, and it was one of those things that, like I said, I got kind of mocked on set a little bit because I didn't realize it was her, and that was my own fault because I was just in my own little world anyway. But the fact that she made it a point to try and find me, to apologize to me for something that apparently had plagued her in her head for like 12 hours, and I'm like, dude, that is badass.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Respect. Like I said, I will love that woman to the day I die.
And this shows that a lot of minorities that's directing and stuff do have humble beginnings and understand the struggles and stuff that actors go through. And they try to fit this facade, but then at the same time gotta respect you as the actor or whoever in a way where, look, I don't want you getting the wrong idea of how I am, but I am very respectable and stuff like that. So that's the way she looked at it.
Yeah, but it was surprising in general. Forget the level she was at and the schlub level I was at. From a human to human perspective, that's a lost art here in the U.S. I think a lot now.
Yes, it is.
Well,
and that's what
entitlements, man. They like actors feel like they have to like be above people, or filmmakers for that matter. It's just
you just dealt with a few indie filmmakers recently. Sorry, go ahead.
So Taraji P. Henson, when she was on the Person of Interest, I did an episode of Person of Interest, and she was in the one scene where they were breaking into a casino. I don't remember which episode it was, but she was like one of the lead cops in that episode, kind of thing. And so, at the end of the scene, she went around and she shook everybody's hand and said thank you, which I thought was amazing. Somebody like, what's his name, the guy who played the lead in the show,
Jim Caviezel.
Yeah, he wouldn't have
Jesus
come
at one
around.
point.
Right. He wouldn't have come around and shook people's hands because he was like
Mm.
above people, you know. And
He was
but yeah,
Jesus, so yeah.
well, when you are Jesus, but yeah, no, it's entitlement is what it is.
Right.
They feel like, you know, I've come this far, I shouldn't have to like stoop so low, and that's not right. You know, you gotta like be good to the people that you work with, no matter
Yes.
where you're at.
Mhm.
And that's why I
Mhm.
say, especially when I work on sets with people, because when they made me executive producer, whenever I'm an actor and stuff, I actually sit down with directors and say, look, this person may need a little encouragement or that, you can't just act like it's your show. I
Mhm.
get that your project, but at the same time, at the end of the day, these people are here to make your project look good. And
And
some
that's
of them
really going to
deserve.
be the big issue with a lot of the stuff that's now going on with Warner Bros. Because there was a lot of cancellations, which means a lot of shows, whether in their infancy or something like Legends of Tomorrow that had been on for 7 seasons, getting the axe.
Mhm.
There's a lot of these little like communities, basically,
Mhm.
that now have no job and they
Yeah.
don't know where they're going to.
So,
All in the interest of slimming down a lot of the waste because of this merger.
You know,
And
and here,
seen
good.
stuff like that back when Disney took over Fox,
Mhm.
and there was a lot of layoffs going on there as far on the Fox end in order just to streamline a lot of the projects that they want to do with the properties, and Fox Searchlight becoming Searchlight, and certain television shows being canceled because it's no longer part of the Disney mentality. It's it's a hard thing to swallow, as far as you have to remember, as much as you may enjoy the people that you're working with day in and day out, it's still work. It's still a business. And it's still something that, unfortunately, you don't have as much control over as you think you do, regardless of what you're doing day in and day out.
Mhm.
Right.
You know, I mean, the good news for a lot of the DC stuff, Legends of Tomorrow and all that, they were all filming in Vancouver anyway, which is considered second LA.
Mm.
So they lost a job there. They will find something else because Vancouver is a hotbed for Canadian filmmaking. You know, and also because anything that films in Canada, Canadian television, I think, requires at least 50% of their TV to be filmed in Canada. So it behooves, the Warner DC people who already have a connection up there to continue to film something up there so they can still continue to tap into the Canadian audience at the same time the US one on top of it. Now, D, you sent us a message earlier about some new structures going up in the Newark area, which is
Yes,
where,
ladies.
yes, go ahead.
Yeah, yes, ladies and gentlemen. They just broke ground in the south. I think it's the South Ward or Central Ward. South Ward, sorry. South Ward of Newark. Those who don't know that, that's near Weequahic Park and all that particular areas, where it's going to be close to the airport. The studio that basically they broke ground with is Lion Gates Studios, which is
Mhm.
going to be known as Newark Lionsgate Studios. Yes, big
yo,
announcement, ladies and gentlemen. So,
that's amazing.
so now there's going to be a lot of job openings once they
Mhm.
get this, once they get everything situated, and maybe there'll be it's going to be job opportunities.
Mhm.
And the good thing about this is you have to thank the governor, the mayor, so I mean Lion Studios, um, all that was involved with this, because this is furthering opportunity for not just filmmakers, but opportunity for people in the communities as well to get their foot in the door and actually learn the actual craft of being in a production studios.
Now, let
Nice.
me ask you this, because I'm a little confused myself. Is
Hmm.
it on the northern? Is that on the northern part of Newark or like the Ironbound section?
It's like it's really considered south, but it's more like towards kind of Ironbound, but they still consider it South Ward.
Okay, so like I said, I know 21, so I know like basically, you got the Ironbound, you got the part that's like closer to Clifton where I used to live.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not totally sure exactly where the airport is, except for exit 14 on the turnpike.
Right.
Interesting thing about this is Newark is still technically what they refer to as inside zone for New York City. So what they refer to as the zone is anything that's within 8 air miles of Columbus Circle. They do not have to pay travel on. So if they have a if they have a studio in Newark, it is still geographically, I believe, 8 miles within Columbus Circle, despite the Hudson River there. So they could have a studio space there and not have to pay for travel, which would save the production companies money, which would further entice them to come to New Jersey in this case as well, because New Jersey has monstrous tax breaks, huge tax breaks right now. So that could work. New Jersey City has a stage now that's exclusive to New Jersey too. Go ahead.
Yeah.
The one that's over by the shipyard, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I sprained my foot 2 weeks ago on a production that came from there. So
what's going on with the one?
This because on the one hand, yes, like you said, it's new jobs, it's new opportunities. One can only imagine what kind of stuff will be done in studio doors or will utilize the New Jersey, New York landscape. On the other hand, it's Lionsgate.
Okay.
And I don't exactly know what kind of films we're going to be getting because it's Lionsgate. Like, if it was Warner Brothers or Disney or Paramount, then I'd be like through the roof.
But is it Lionsgate?
But it's Lionsgate.
But you got to think about it. Lionsgate it's a sister of one of the production companies. I think Universal or something.
It's not that Lionsgate
wide open.
doesn't
What kind
make
of film
good
they're
movies.
gonna
They have the new Nicolas Cage movie out right now. The what's it called? Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which has gotten rave reviews. Which for a Nick Cage movie, awesome. Lionsgate also put out Moonfall. You know, it's very hit and miss with a lot of stuff that's kind of like straight to video, straight to streaming, straight to voodoo, whatever you want to go ahead and call it.
So you're saying it's unbranded in a way.
I'm saying I don't know how long it's going to last because it's Lionsgate. I mean, on the one hand, yes, you could get something as great as The Green Knight. On the other hand, you could get The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. You know, it's a mixed bag. You know, I'd prefer a more established studio to go ahead and take over a space like this because, look, we're a state that has already had to deal with a lot of other big construction boondoggles in our history. One can only remember what the American Dream Mall was before it was the American Dream Mall.
Xanadu.
One can only remember Newark having its own baseball field and team before the Bears went back into the woods. All right? I don't want this to necessarily be some sort of like mob-oriented crash grab where they're just going to go ahead, build a studio, make a few bad movies with Nick Cage or someone else, and then it's going to all just crash. I want something that's going to be thriving and surviving. And with Lionsgate, it's a bit of a ipsy-whipsy sort of... I don't know if it's going to work.
What's going on with the one down south? The one that Amazon was supposed to be.
You talking about the Tyler Perry's studios
in South Jersey?
No, not South Jersey. Oh, you talking about South Jersey? I thought you were talking about in Georgia.
No. There's one that was supposedly been. It was near like the Joint base down there.
I heard something about that too. Yeah.
I thought they were going over to Staten Island or some place around Queens.
There is Queens for a fact. Robert De Niro is doing the one in Queens. Staten Island, yes, they're building one there too. Because like I said, New Jersey,
and I get it. There's been more work popping up in this area because of all the different landscapes that we have to work with in the state, whether it's farmland or, you know, middle America sort of like country, or you have the big industrial stuff that you would have seen in many things of Newark or Joker or stuff like that. I get why we would be a good scenario, but it's Lionsgate. It's like,
listen, if Lionsgate fails, some other production company will buy the space.
Exactly.
They'll work out a deal. You know, I mean, it's
or they'll turn it into another gas rig or something. Look, I'm from Rahway, all right? I lived in Linden. I lived very close to those big old steam pipes that the minute you cross by them, you could smell whether or not they were active, all right? I don't want more industrial. I want more artistic. So I do not want something to go there and fail and then just become another industrial site, which is what it could happen if enough wheeling and dealing happens. I want something there that is going to succeed, so this way we keep our work going for years to come. And
I
with
don't disagree.
Lionsgate, I do not have that vote of confidence.
Have faith,
Well,
Ryan.
well,
I will die on this hill.
by the way, that's usually a question that's on Ask Reddit a lot. What hill are you guaranteed to die on? I don't trust the studio space.
That'll be Ryan.
It's like they've done some good things in the past. They had Hunger Games. They had, Saw back when it meant something. But
Pre-Donnie
now,
Wahlberg, you mean?
I say give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. If it becomes a flop, if it doesn't do well, then like Scott says, I really think they're probably going to find somebody else to buy it off, and they'll work some deal out.
There's so much production money being spent right now on so much. I mean, you compare what we have now to what we had, say, 10 years ago in 2012. I mean, every streaming service has options. Apple TV is owning this area. They're filming another one right now. They just finished one. They're filming another one right now in this area. They're opening up a lot of different things. So this is massive amounts of money. So I had a conversation with somebody yesterday. It's like, if you're serious about this, and even if you're like a straight up background actor, nothing else, and you're not getting health insurance, you're not trying, because there's so much here, especially because the productions were shut down during COVID. Somebody brought this up to me this morning. It was right. The productions were shut down during COVID, so nothing was filming, but everybody was still writing at the time because they're having Zoom meetings, something like this. So they're brainstorming, they're writing, they're doing their scripts. And all of these scripts were built ahead of time during a complete lockdown. And then as soon as the lockdown was cleared, it's like, boom, here's all the scripts that we got that are approved.
And some of them may be crappy, but there's always that one that's like a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, you make 10, get 1. That's kind of the thing.
Moonfall. That's all I'm saying.
Moonfall versus Moon Knight, Dark Knight.
I'm going to be honest. I was one of those people, real quick. I was one of those people that were writing a script. I finally finished it. I got it copyrighted. You never know.
Oh, yeah. So
I've been working on one for 12 years.
Like, who wants to do a movie about my kidnapping? Let me take it to Lionsgate.
There you go.
Get Steven Seagal to play me.
All aboard the pain train. Toot toot.
God help me.
All right, we got to wrap this up. Rob, do you have anything you want to go into before I turn it over to the other gentleman?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that this will be my last show. I have some personal things that I need to take care of. I'll still be behind the scenes. I'll be helping out the group and the teams and all that, but I do need to step back.
Yes, thank you, Matt. You've been awesome. I have known you for now 12 years at this point, which blows my mind in this way. So, yeah, no, I would love to keep you on. I mean, you talked about the possibility of coming on as a guest as well, so we're going to figure this out. And I'm
somebody taking over for me for tomorrow for Avatar. He said so. We tapped on it.
Oh, yeah?
It was fake. It's going to happen. You're doing it.
No.
Yes.
Honestly, I don't care which one of you it is, as long as it's 3. So,
and Robert, thank you. You're gonna be truly missed, man.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I'll be in touch with you. We're gonna work on stuff behind the scenes with everything going on too.
Definitely,
pitch ideas that you may have, and hell, we can figure out a way if you want to just record a segment, we just like play it. That's always a possibility too. As I'm thinking,
I'll be your man on the I'll be your man on the street.
That's true. Yeah. Let's go to our eye in the sky, Mr. Robert Leckington. Traffic's really bad down there on the I-45 right now.
Nice.
So, all right. Anything else from you gentlemen over there?
No,
just fearing for tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. So am I. It's gonna be better than last week, though. My God. So, anyway, I'm Scott, Mr. Ryan O'Regan, Mr. Davion Busey, and of course, Mr. Leckington. Thank you big time for everything you've been doing. Do not be a stranger. I will not allow you to be a stranger. That's not allowed here.
Yes.
I'm Scott Churchson. Thank you to Eduardo for producing here. Thanks to the good folks at Spanglish World Network, Zingo TV, and all those fine people out there. This is Tales from the Film Set. You can find us on YouTube and also Twitch at Tales from the Film Set. And I'm Scott Churchson. Drop me a message on there, Tales from the Film Set at Gmail. So have a good night. Have a great day. Stay awesome.
Rob, you gotta save me, please.